out last night doing some night gaming. We're gaming. And I just wanted to review some lessons of the night, share those with you. If you're, you're going out there, you're struggling a little bit. Maybe you're struggling to approach. You're seeing the kinds of girls that you want to speak to, yet you don't go up and talk to them, or maybe you're not getting the results that you want to get. Well, then I want to share these lessons of the night. Perhaps it can help you. You might be struggling with these same kinds of sticking points, as one might say. Now, first on the agenda, be unapologetic about your desires, wants, needs. What can happen is you might start thinking to yourself, what if people see me approaching? What if people see me talking to girls? Oh no! What if people see me talking to girls? And then they know that I want to go and speak to them and making romantic advances. What if? Well, then you be unapologetic. You're not judging yourself. You accept yourself. You own your wants, your desires, your needs 100%. You're on your own side. You're on your own side. You're not worrying about the concerns of others because you care more about your own success. You care more about your own wants, desires, needs, living the life that would be meaningful for you. So you're unapologetic. Remind yourself of that. Now, another thing is that what can happen is sometimes you start questioning if what you're going to say is good enough. But then what you do is you don't analyze in field, you analyze after the fact, which means in the moment, you commit 100% to whatever it is that you're going to say, whatever it is that you're going to do. Maybe you're thinking, I'm just going to run around and just approach everyone. But then a little voice in your head goes, oh, but then what if people know? What if it's obvious? What if people start calling me out? You don't question it, you just do it. And then you see what happens in reality. You're not living in some fearful reality in your mind. See what happens in real life. Challenge those worries, challenge those fears, and just do it anyways and take action. So you walk up with 100% conviction, you walk up with 100% commitment, and you just take action. Now, you can also practice self-amusing. You can also analyze after the fact. Don't analyze infield. Try to make sure that you are taking action for the entirety of the time that you are out, because that's a big thing right there, is just, did I keep approaching the girls that I wanted to approach? When I saw a girl that I was interested in, did I go up and did I make the attempt? Whether she was in a group, whether she was on her own, basically under any circumstances, if you can just make yourself approach, that is a win for the night. Ultimately, you don't have control over whether a girl is going to want to take things to a romantic place with you or not. So you just focus on what's within your control, which is your actions. When you're out as well, something to try to keep in mind, be unwavering in your self-esteem and your confidence. Now, of course, when you're in it, you may forget this, and then your mood might waver when you're out. You might even get a little disheartened. That's okay. But it's something to keep in mind, is to just practice being grounded, practice asserting to yourself that your self-worth doesn't come from whether people like you or not. It comes from within. So remind yourself not to base your self-worth on external factors. I think that's a key point when you're out as well. And then try to just keep approaching for the entirety of the night, as well as practicing self-amusement, as well as keep in mind that you're speaking with other human beings just like yourself. You're not separate from anybody else. You might think, oh, I'm the pickup guy, I'm the dating guy, I go out and I'm the socialization guy. It's like, no, you're the same as everybody else. You're a human being. You're there to try to connect with people, and when you're talking to someone, try to think about what this person's experience is like. Think about how you can add value to the people when you're out. Just try to add value. Also practicing self-amusement, having fun within the environment. Again, cultivating that from within. Just because something doesn't go anywhere with someone, you walk away and you're still having a great time. You're still upping your mood. You're still taking responsibility for yourself and the things that you have control over, which is basically you. You're the only constant when you're out. The external environment is chaotic. It's unpredictable. You can't control other people. The only thing that you ultimately have control over is yourself. Now, another thing too, though, is that let's say you're out with your friends, your wings, whatever. It's good to use your friends to your advantage just as much as they are going to be using you too. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I just mean when you're out and you have certain advantages, which would be friends, for example, or wings, then utilize that advantage of having friends, having wings, maybe to go speak to group sets or whatever it may be, vibing off of each other, masterminding, whatever advantages you can find when you're out with one another. But then it's good also to keep in mind that ultimately you want to be self-reliant and not be dependent on anyone or any external thing to make you do approaches, and as well be willing to leave your friends if you get a good lead while you're out, so to speak, and then pursue that lead. You know, if you're out and you got a 2-set and you guys can work it together, that's cool. But let's say that there's a girl and then you guys are vibing, pursue that lead. Be willing to walk away from your buddies, and then you can always meet up another time, or you meet up the next time you're out. That's the point. The point is not to hold yourself back from potential opportunities. The point's to go for it. What are some things within your control going out a certain amount of days per week? Maybe you say to yourself, I'm going to go out 3 times a week. Did you follow through with that? If so, that's a win. It's something you can build off of. Another thing might be you say, when I go out, I'm going to go out from 10 till 2 o'clock in the morning. And if you followed through and you stayed out until that time, boom, that's a win. These are things that are within your control. These are factors that are reliable. Just like you are the only constant in your life, well, these things are areas that are within your control. Another thing would be, you might say, when I see girls that I'm interested in talking to, do I go up and talk to them? And sometimes you're going to concede on that. You're not going to do it. But then that's something that you can take stock of. And then the next time you go out, you say, okay, I'm going to push myself next time to break through whatever those internal barriers or internal obstacles, challenges, rationalizations, negative self-talk, and I'm going to do it anyways. And this is how you're going to eventually build up your self-confidence and build up that skill set. And as well as this, a lot of this is just a battle between you and yourself. It's like, can I overcome the excuse making, the rationalizations, the negative self-talk? Or it's also external obstacles, challenges that might be present. Learning to develop self-trust, learning to validate yourself, not looking for acceptance through external factors, but cultivating that from within, so that when you do go up and you talk to somebody and perhaps they're not interested, it doesn't diminish your self-worth. It doesn't diminish your self-esteem, because once again, it's dependent on you, not somebody else and their acceptance or their validation. So these are the kinds of things that you're cultivating. And then it's also not being afraid of the work. You know, a part of you is also going to say, oh, it's not worth it. I have to invest this much time. You might be hoping that it's going to work out in an instant, and you don't want to invest your energy, time, effort. But then that's also part of the skill too, is overcoming that part of you that doesn't want to do it for nothing, and then doing it anyways, even though, yes, there might not be anything that comes out it per se. There might be nothing that comes from it per se, but actually, if you know what to recognize, then there's always something that comes out of it. You can learn from every situation that you put yourself in. Not only that, You're learning to overcome that resistance. You're learning to just be free from the outcome and enjoy conversating for the sake in itself. And as well as you can still practice flirting, you can still practice trying to add value to somebody else's life, trying to also pick up on the sub-communication with the people that you're talking to. And this advice of being good with girls in general, being good with people in general, socializing is a skill. So it doesn't just apply to romantic pursuits, but it applies to everyone, guys and girls, even people that you're not romantically interested in. Something else that can be a challenge too is when you're out with your friends, you might be worried about looking bad in front of them. You might be worried about failing in front of your friends, falling down, so to speak. So then what do? You go and you make the attempt, and you're willing to fail. You're willing to face whatever those fears or worries are that are holding you back. Once again, if you are secure within yourself, if you validate yourself, if your self-worth comes from within, why would you care more about the opinions of your friends, or anyone for that matter, more so than your own success, your own fulfillment? Keep in mind that you want to be one with yourself. You want to be your own best friend. And so even when you are out with your friends, keep that mentality that you are with yourself ultimately, and that no one's going to make you do the approaches. When you see that girl that you're interested in, go approach. You don't need permission. You give yourself permission. Everything comes from within. If you find that you're getting a lot of anxiety before you go out, you're feeling like you're having a lot of pressure on yourself, it's probably because you're setting your expectations to a degree that is more outside of your control. You might be thinking, oh, I have to, be this crazy, gregarious, energetic person when I go out. You might be imagining that you have to end up sleeping with find some girl that is highly attractive, and then you end up sleeping with her at the end of the night. So if this is the case, then realize that's where this pressure and anxiety is coming from. It's because you're setting your expectations way too high, and you're also basing them on things that are outside of your control. That's why when I realized this in myself, because I would do the same thing, and I would wonder why every single time I was going to go out that I had this pressure and anxiety, realized I was setting my criteria for success on things that were outside of my control. So when you set your criteria for success on things that are within your control, things based on your own actions, and like I said, the only constant is you. So when you go out, don't rely on somebody else's actions. Again, you can't control other people. You can't control whether or not somebody decides that they want to pursue something to a romantic level with you. So instead, set it on your own actions. And again, then it's fully on your control. The only constant is you. This game is chaotic. You cannot predict what is going to happen outside of yourself in the environment. So when you base your expectations fully on your actions, then there is no anxiety, because it comes down to you and focusing on things that are fully within your control. If you have the passion for this pursuit, that's a fundamental aspect that it's going to take to get the results you want in this or in any endeavor. For me, for example, one of the first loves of my life was skateboarding and wanting to be a professional skateboarder, and I pursued that for over a decade of my life. And that was before I had any knowledge about the studies and the different knowledge that we have about skill acquisition, whether it's things like the 10,000 hour rule, or the commonalities that we see between someone like Albert Einstein, or even the Serena Williams twins, or even somebody like Mozart. They put in intensive amounts of practice for over a decade before they came out with some of their greatest accomplishments in their life. For example, the theory of relativity for Albert Einstein, or Mozart's some of his best compositions that he first started coming into. I'm not a music major, but you can look into this in a book called Bounce, where this professional athlete in that book wrote about the history of these different figures that we may have thought were just these naturals in what they did, but no, they put in intensive practice for years of their life before they reached the pinnacle of the skills that they cultivated for themselves. Now, why I say this is because passion is massive. If you have the passion, if this is something that you want to pursue and you want to dedicate your time and you want to dedicate your life to becoming a social master, to meeting women, to pushing yourself, to getting out of your comfort zone, to mastering yourself ultimately, then go for it. Be obsessed or be average, like Grant Cardone wrote in his book. Go with it. Why not? Just like Steve Jobs said, you need to have the passion. If you have the passion, that's more than half the battle right there, because you're not going to stick through the tough times if you don't have that drive, if you don't have that intense urge to pursue what it is that you want to pursue. So go for it. And there's no telling what you can accomplish. Even Tony Robbins said the enemy of the best is the good. The people where this stuff came natural or came easy for people, they're going to give up and they're not going to value this kind of pursuit. Whether it's with women, again, it's more than just women. It's mastery over yourself. It challenges you in so many ways, right? So the fact that this is challenging for you, but it is something that you want to pursue, run with it, go with it. And there's no telling what you can accomplish and the kind of life that you can build for yourself. But realize it's going to take more than just going out and socializing. You're going to have to start looking at your belief systems. You're going to want to start looking at your finances, your health, your all kinds of your mindsets. It's a journey of the self. It's self-exploration. It's more than just going out and approaching women, right? It's just like when you go to the gym. You go to the gym and you might be working out for 2 hours, 3 hours. If you're a guy that's going to be a Mr. Olympia, you might even be working out for 3 sessions a day, 2 hours for each session, depending on how far you want to take this. What I was getting at is to say that, let's say you are going to the gym, the amount of time that you spend in the gym is minuscule in comparison to your diet and the nutrition that you need to be getting on a daily basis. The food that you eat and the calories you consume is just as important as you getting in the gym and working out. Well, the same thing with your dating life or socializing or getting out there and trying to build this area of your life. What are you doing outside of socializing, outside of going to the bars, outside of going to the clubs? Are you working on your mental health? Are you eating good foods? Are you staying off of different vices that are detrimental to your mental health and your physical health? You can take this as professionally as something like an athlete. And if it is something that you want to do, then you got to be looking at all areas of your life before you can make excuses and say that you can't do this or start blaming things that are outside of your control. Now, the people you surround yourself with, that's just as important too. So reading high-level literature, surrounding yourself with positive influences is also key, which is why as well, get people that care about your success. Realize too, though, that no one's going to care about your success as much as you can care. Now, also, I offer free 30-minute strategy calls where we go over your specific needs and questions. So you can hit me up at datingdestruction@gmail.com if that's something that interests you and take advantage of my over 10 years of experience in this field. Or if you want to go out and do some Infield trainings where I demonstrate things, give you external feedback, and you can take things even further where I address your specific needs and issues in person. Again, you can inquire about that at datingdestruction@gmail.com. Otherwise, you can do things as well like filming yourself, recording yourself, analyzing footage just like they do in professional sports and all kinds of fields. And these are just those ways where you can improve by 1%, by 1%. It's about consistency. It's about putting in the hours. It's about focusing on things that are within your control and not basing your success on things that are outside of your control. So That's it for this video. I hope it helps. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, peace out, my brothers.